Okay, hello everyone and welcome to my very new channel. This is my first ever YouTube video review. Usually I do written reviews and thought why not try doing a video review instead. So here we are. This is the first one hopefully of many. So today we're going to be taking a look at the Steam Crave Aromomizer Supreme V3. It's RDTA or RTA. Comes in very familiar packaging if you've had a Steam Crave product before. Let's take a look what you get in the packaging. First of all, this is a sample. I've got the stainless steel. It does come also in black, gunmetal and blue, and this is the advanced kit as well, so there's a few extra bits and bobs in here which you don't get in the standard kit. So let's take a look at what you do get. Obviously there's the Supreme V3, which we'll take a look at in a moment. So it comes pre-installed with a straight glass, which gives you a 6ml capacity. There is an additional bubble glass, which gives you 7ml capacity. So not a huge difference between the two. Usually, I'm all for using bubble glasses just for the extra capacity, but because there's only a mil between them, I actually like the look of the straight glass, so I'm going to keep that on instead. So you've got bubble glass. It comes with a chimney inside, which has a 5ml diameter, so more of a narrow bore. And you do get an additional chimney which is 7mm, so if you prefer more airflow in the chimney you can swap that out, possibly if you're using any of the additional decks as well, because it comes with a single coil deck installed, but in the advanced kit you do get a dual coil postless deck and also the mesh deck, so potentially the 7ml may be better for either of those two. Here's a quick look at the dual coil deck. I won't have a look at that on this video, I'm more interested in the single coil deck. Same with the mesh deck, I've looked at this previously, but what you do get in the mesh deck kit is the mesh deck itself, very similar to what you get with the Aromomizer V2 and the Ragnar as well. Obviously a lot smaller due to the smaller tank that we've got with the Supreme. You get the mesh tool to curve your mesh strips on. Mesh strips in there, which is Canthal A1, and another 2 strips in there. Stainless steel on this one if you want to use it in tank control. A couple of extra post screws, springs for the clamps, and a squonk pin as well. That's just a quick look at what you get in the mesh deck kit. You also get a 510 drip tip adapter if you prefer using a 510, can do. You get a bag of spare O-rings and spare screws, always plenty of those with Steam Crave. Lots of O-rings, and there's actually 2 sets of screws there. I think one set is Allen keys, which is what's already in here, and the other set are flathead screws. If you can see that, if I didn't knock the camera. Spare gasket for the top cap, sticker, instruction manual down there, and your little tri tool. Pop all this back and take a look at the Supreme V3 itself. Okay, so I have used this for about 2 weeks now. Just took it apart, give it a quick clean so it's all fresh and ready to go with a new build in there. But starting at the top, it is an 810 resin drip tip, but a narrow bore. And obviously you've got that adapter for using in a 510 if you'd prefer, or you can use your own 810s. If you can see a bit of water in there, that's where I've just given it a wash. So there's an O-ring inside there, so you can use any of your own drip tips. The top cap, so you've got the Steam Crave Aromomizer Supreme V3 engraved there, nice deep engraving. Top cap comes off with a quarter turn, which is different to other Steam Crave tanks recently, which have all been threaded. Comes off with a quick quarter turn, nice and smooth, and then you've got 2 huge fill ports, which is always the case with Steam Crave. So you can use the biggest of nozzles, which I actually do tend to use these, and there's no issues filling this with those. Like I said, straight glass 6ml capacity, the bubble glass 7ml capacity. You have that replaceable chimney there, which is the 5ml, and you've also got the 7ml in the advanced kit as well. Juice flow control ring. Has a padlock when it's locked. You can move that to open, and that lets the juice, if you can just see, go down these slots here onto the wicking channels of the deck. Your airflow control ring has 3 It's all honeycomb, but 3 different options. So you've got the 3 rows there, which you can close off bit by bit, either way. Onto 2 rows, again honeycomb, all honeycomb, and then the 1 row. This is actually flippable, so when you take it apart, I have just flipped it over. It comes with that slot on the bottom, but it's recommended for the single deck or the mesh deck to flip it over to give it more sort of higher up airflow. So I've gone and done that this time. Give it a go. And then you unscrew the base. Oh, sorry, on the base. It's got designed by BJ Shee. And the usual marks and the serial number there. So this spins off and reveals the deck, which I have taken out to put a build in. So inside you can see the inner chamber. So here airflow comes in from the sides. That's where you would push the chimney out if you want to remove it, or that's where it threads in anyway. So quite a small, slightly domed chamber. And these are the juice flow channels, which when you open it using the juice flow control ring, your juice comes down here and then is wicked up by the deck. So the single coil deck, which I've already built, so you don't have to painfully watch me. So I've previously used a fused Clapton, which I think I actually went a bit too big in wraps wise, etc, etc. I may have positioned it lower as well. So what I've done is built a standard Clapton coil, 6 wraps. It's 26 gauge core wrapped with 36 gauge, and I've actually positioned it higher up because it says that the airflow is 80% side, 20% bottom. So I thought, well, if the side is 80%, I want more air hitting the bottom of the coil from the side as well. So I've positioned it, if this will focus, so that the bottom of the coil is sort of half covering those bottom holes, and then the other side holes will be hitting directly on the side of the coil. And I've wicked it already, so I'm using rayon here, so not cotton, but similar sort of principle. The wicking channels sort of end about here, so I've got the wick just sort of resting there. I haven't poked it through the holes, which if we take this off, you'll be able to see. Can we see? So my wick is sort of just covering those holes. It's not poking through, it's just sitting nicely there. So the deck itself is sort of a, if you like, a half pipe design where we've got the slope coming up. So the air comes in from the side. So this side is going to hit the coil from the side, and it's also going to let 20% of air go underneath here, and that's going to come out from the bottom. However, the other side is obviously just going to be hitting the side of the coil there. So you've got your 2 post screws here, coil legs go straight in. One thing I noticed while building this as well, I like how you've got these little cutouts, so you've got some space to get in, trim your coil legs, which I've got a bit of Clapton outer wrap there. I'll just give that a snip, but it gives you some sort of play with not hitting the inner chamber there and causing a short as well. Plenty of room, so I'll just give that a quick snip. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the single coil deck, and I'm quite looking forward to trying it with a more reasonable size coil rather than the big one that I slammed in to start with. So we'll pop that in. When putting the decks in, if you've never used a Steam Crave tank before, there's these little tabs on either side, as you can see here and here, which line up with the slots on either side. So you just have to make sure you get those right. I'm going to need some liquid first. So this coil coming out as a 0.58. Just drip some juice on here. So I'm just going to line these tabs up here, drop the tank in, give it a bit of a wiggle. There we go, all snug. Put the base back on, and we can put it on a mod. They do recommend you to close off the juice flow when filling. It's entirely up to you if you do want to. I'm not going to fill this right up in case we have a flooding moment where I haven't wicked this enough. So there's your juice. We'll open the juice flow control, let it drop down, and hopefully we don't get juice coming out of the airflow holes. Looking safe at the moment. Right, so I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything really. The only other thing to mention would be height-wise. Steam Crave says that it's 59mm from bottom to the top of the drip tip, so including the actual drip tip, 59mm. Width-wise, 25mm. Obviously, it's a tall tank, may not be for everybody, but certainly nice looking tank. Just to give you a comparison with the Aromomizer V2, which is a 30mm diameter. Obviously, very similar, same airflow, juice control, very, very similar designing. Same knurling on the bottom ring, and then the Ragnar. Obviously, the Ragnar's got slightly more airflow options, but styling wise, very similar. So it's nice to see them take the same design and you've pretty much got options for whatever you like. Obviously these are more, you're limited with mods that you can use them on, and the weight of them as well is quite hefty. This, a nice out and about tank, going to work, I've been using it in work. So we've got it coming out as 0.51 on the mod. I'm not going to need it that high. I'm going to start off at 20 watts. I've never used this build of coil before. It's a first for me. I'm going to put a bit more juice in. I tend to prefer sort of the middle airflow, so we'll go there. 20 watts. Let's give this a go. Nowhere near enough. 27. I think I'm going to have to hit 30 with this. Nice. Okay, the flavour is really nice. A lot better than I was getting with the Fuse Clapton, which I admittedly built it way too big. So 6 wraps on this 2636 standard single core Clapton, much better. That's really nice. And really thick clouds as well. Okay, I wasn't going to do this, but I might as well. I'm a bit nervous or camera shy, but I'll flip it round and we'll do a face shot. Okay, here we are up top. This is my humble setup. I'm recording on my phone and I'm hiding behind a hat and glasses, but let's have a look at what we think. First of all, flavour with this single Clapton, single core standard Clapton, 6 wraps. I'm managing to vapour at 30 watts, which is nice and low, and that is insane amount of clouds, really. Very nice flavour. Clouds, if you like clouds. Nothing to moan about there. Can't believe how much better the flavour is actually on this. Very nice flavour. Right, thoughts. As with all Steam Crave products, the build quality, nothing to moan about at all. You get loads of stuff in the packaging, especially in the advanced kit, but they don't scrimp and scrape with spare O-rings, spare screws, so if any of those go on you, you've always got spares there. It's nice to have a Steam Crave tank at 25mm, which is going to pretty much fit on the majority of mods, so it's nice to have that option. Got it on the Lost Vape Gruss. It's obviously a tall tank, so that's something to bear in mind. Drip tip's nice with the narrow bore, but you can always, if you prefer more airflow, you can swap that chimney out for the 7mm, put a standard 810 on there, or if you prefer 510s, you can use that adapter. The airflow is nice and smooth. Nice and smooth airflow. Let's put it wide open for you. I prefer a bit of a restriction, but still smooth wide open. So yeah, build quality, nothing to complain about at all. All the threads nice and smooth. And one thing I will say is when I first took it out, obviously I've washed it today, but the O-rings were very tight, so they may just need a bit of liquid on them to lube them up. I actually ended up trapping one of the O-rings and snapping it, but it was sort of, there's a double O-rings underneath the airflow control ring, and it was the middle one, so you've still got another one on top, so that I didn't have any leaking at all. I've just put a new one on there when I put it back together. The resistance on the airflow control ring is nice, not too loose, not too tight, but it was tight when I first took it out of the box. Same thing with the juice control, nice resistance on there. Building on the deck, so obviously I've only tried the single deck, but very easy to build. It was just 2 legs in, room to snip them, and there's a bit of room, like I pointed out there as well, so that your leads don't touch the sides of the inner chamber, so that was nice. Airflow's nice and smooth, lots of extras in the packaging. I like how they've carried over the overall aesthetics from the Ragnar and the Aromomizer, so very similar, all in keeping with the range that they've got going on. The only con that I've got personally, because the flavour is really good flavour, the only con I've got is switching this to a quarter turn. Personally, I don't know if this is just on my tank, but it's quite loose. I can even open it with the drip tip. Quite a loose fit. I haven't had it open up unwantingly in my pocket or anything like that, but it's definitely loose. There's no resistance there. It could just be on my tank. I don't know if anybody else has experienced it, but just thought I'd point that out. Overall, definite flavour. Yeah, flavour's really good. Can't complain about that. So the only issue that I've got is that the top cap is quite loose. Personally, I would have liked that to be tighter, or just stuck with the threaded cap you have on the Ragnar and the Aromomizer V2. But yeah, if you've watched this, thank you very much, and I hope I've done alright, and I hope to do more videos and see you again soon. Thank you.